right, folks, what's good? We are back. We are live here to recap a very, very fun, impressive, dominant win by the Kansas Jayhawks. AB, you said last week on the pod that you felt it was going to go this way. You felt it was going to be a just dominant performance from Kansas. I think I tweeted the morning of the game. I said it feels like we could see a scorched earth Allen Fieldhouse type environment where everything goes right. And it really was. That's what it was. It was just one of those games where it doesn't matter. Allen Fieldhouse, the power of Allen Fieldhouse is going to just win. Like, I don't know, Houston, all the things we worried about from a Houston standpoint, Kansas matched very well, actually dominated better. So I don't know where to start. I will say this. Actually, I do know where I want to start. Our guy Adam Sullivan sent me some stats that I want to go over because yesterday was like, I know we dominated and I walked away being like, that was awesome. We played great, but like, it was like a truly historic offensive performance, I think, from Kansas. So a couple stats real quick. KU 69% from the floor is the best shooting performance by Kansas in a conference game since they shot 69.6% against Missouri all the way back in 1991. Their shooting percentage of 69% was the best shooting performance against a top 5 team since Xavier shot 71% against number 1 St. Joe on 3/11/2004. So, like, I knew we were shooting really well, but I guess I didn't quite realize until after that shooting that well against that good of a defense is just crazy. So felt like we were due to have that after the Iowa State-West Virginia game, so it just feels great. And, yeah, whoever wants to take it, I'd love to hear your initial thoughts.
Well, I was going to say the late possession where Kev missed a floater and Hunter dunked it back, or maybe it was opposite. We were at 70%. So a miss there and a tip back. Yeah, they finished at 69%. I was saying on the spaces yesterday, we had 4 starters that missed 1 shot. KJ went 4 for 5, Furphy 6 for 7, Kev 7 for 8, Juan 3 for 4, Hunter obviously 9 for 15. That's great. He had 20 and what did he finish with? 20 and 8. And then the bench guys, all 4 of them only missed 1 shot. So 8 of the 9 guys that played missed 1 shot total against a team that analytics just jerk off. Yeah, defensively. And we got any look we wanted. We 69% from the floor, and we had 18 turnovers, right? You tweeted about it. All the passes we throw into the stands all the time. Like, it could have been crazier. Cryer hit some threes late to get it to like 10, but the game was really never in doubt. I don't know. Maybe I know you weren't nervous a week ago, but I don't think at any point was I nervous. And we talked about it last week.
You guys were shitting your pants mid-first half. Yeah, mid-first half when it was like we were up like 13. I was like, boys, this game's over.
No,
I
have the receipts in. Brian, you're pointing like you didn't say anything. I was so mad at you guys during the game. When
you were calling game 10 minutes in.
Yes, because it was over before tip-off. The game was over before it tipped off.
Okay, all right. And you said that a week ago, so I give you credit.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was never in doubt to me. I just thought we would cool off. Even at halftime, we were shooting it extremely well, and we shot it even better in the second half. So I thought KU would cool off, especially against that good of a defense. But it was never in doubt. KJ was amazing. He had 7 assists. I was talking last night. KJ went 7 for 7 on Tuesday against Oklahoma State and 4 for 5 yesterday. He had 7 assists yesterday, and he had 6 on Tuesday. So he missed 1 shot this week, and he had games with 7 assists and 6 assists.
He's so good. And just like, you're going to get it every night from him. He does not take games off. Real quick to address AB acting like I was melting down and that we were going to blow this big lead. Here's what I said yesterday in the first half. I said, this is so fun, boys. And then I also said, we are shooting 80% from the field. I'm a little stressed about that. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think we could sustain 80% shooting for the whole game. So, yeah, I was a little stressed we'd go down a little bit. I never once was like, we're going to lose. So
I know. I'm overreacting. I was defensive. sorry.
No, I think AB, you should go ham on this episode. You called this. I think you've called. Maybe you haven't called Houston frauds, but you haven't been huge believers in them, even though you love KenPom. But you've kind of called this for a while, and we called it during the week. During these games, these big games, when you have top 5, top 10 teams, KU just comes out on fire. Like, they get out to a lead. They never really start slow, and that's exactly what happened. I forgot what the lead was exactly early, but they came out hot, ready to go, and it sustained the entire game.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we've just all seen this movie before. Like, I don't think Vegas can afford to make KU an underdog again. I'm sure it was heavily bet on. I saw our guy Rico took Houston. Unfortunate for him.
Big K-State fan Rico. Yeah. Tough to see.
I have to give him a week.
They're hot, right? They are hot right now. K-State.
We'll get to them later. I don't know. Like, it's weird to say that they beat the number 1 analytic team in the country, and I could still sit back and say they didn't play all that well, or at least like sustainably well. If they shoot their normal season percentage, that might be a loss. 18-3 in the turnover margin is insane. So, like, I'm pumped they won. I thought it was predictable that they would win, but at the same time, I don't know that I'm in the boat of, yeah, this team's like one of the best teams in the country. This team is like a real chance to go win a national championship. Yeah, they still could, but I'm not taking that away from this game when, I mean, I don't think any of us expect to see KU shoot 69% from the field again this year. Like, sometimes there are outliers. Like, a lot of the issues I still have with this team kind of still showed up yesterday, and it just was covered up by the fact that the game was truly never in doubt. They trailed for 17 seconds.
Anthony, why don't you just give the listeners a KenPom update of where we're at and the history on national champions?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of different stats, I guess, tweeted out about that. I guess people are starting to look at it before the tournament starts, and you got to be in like top 40, I think, in both, or top 20 in one, top 40 in the other, something along those lines. But then that also includes like literally 22 straight championships, so it includes everyone that's won one.
What were we offensively after the UCF game? I think we talked about it during the week. We were like 38th or something.
36 or something. Yeah.
We're inside. We're at like 17 now on KenPom, and that just shows how much of a difference Furphy has made.
Well, I got something about Furphy. I'm sure it's been tweeted by a couple people. If you go over to Torvik, you can sort like certain date ranges. If you go with the date that Furphy started his first game to now, the Kansas basketball Jayhawks are number 3 in the country on Bart Torvik.
And so that's what I was going to say, be like about not being sold necessarily on yesterday's performance. But to me, it's like we have, in this time span where we've lost 3 games, we've actually been a much better team. Like, it's a very weird thing, and it's hard to say that, but like Furphy getting inserted in the starting lineup, we've 100% been a really good offensive basketball team, and we've just happened to lose games. We talked about the Iowa State game was like a pretty fluky shooting performance from Iowa State. West Virginia, again, we didn't play good against West Virginia, but like they shot out of their minds too. So like it was weird. It was hard to be like, why are we not seeing more wins with Furphy? But it was also just a mixture of like the schedule. You started playing road games, and road games. Yeah. This has been the worst year to win road games in college basketball. So like, yeah, I am kind of getting to the point where I think, yes, turnover is still a problem, but I think yesterday did kind of sell me on, okay, this team will keep getting better. This team can go win a national title, because I was worried about the physicality of Houston, worried about our offense matching up, and that did not seem to be a huge problem. Now, it helped that we weren't missing any shots, so the rebounding didn't matter as much, but we still were battling inside for rebounds, and that to me was what I wanted to see.
One of my biggest takeaways, besides just field goal percentage, was the rebounding differential. And yeah, you just talked about all the makes, so Houston didn't have too many opportunities. We out-rebounded them by 16, 40-24. And that's another thing with Furphy, and we talked about it. If Furphy has off nights and he's not shooting it well, he's going to impact the game in so many other ways. And that's why I really think this will be the last year we get to watch him. And He's 6'9" with a burner, plays hard, active on the boards, gets on the floor, competes like this. I love watching him play. And like I said, if he has a tough night scoring it, he's going to impact the game in other ways. He had 8 rebounds, I think, again on Saturday. And he's just changed this team completely. A couple weeks ago, before he was in the starting lineup, I was pretty down on this team. Like after the UCF game, I just didn't see it because you had 2 guards in there not looking to score. The spacing was weird. Now Furphy in the starting lineup playing major minutes and being one of our best players, I absolutely think this team could win it all. And I'll eventually ask you guys like who you would take right now or who you think the best team is. But I'd take KU against anyone, anywhere right now. And I said it yesterday, when the stakes are the highest so far this year, when they play really good teams, they show up and they're ready to go. Their resume speaks for itself. They've beaten Tennessee. They've beaten Kentucky. They've beaten Houston. They've beaten UConn. I know Marquette was a tough one, but we talked about Maui. That field was crazy. You got to play 3 games, 3 days. But when the stakes are highest, they come ready to play. When they play Eastern Illinois, they kind of sleepwalk. But they're as good as anyone in the country right now. There's teams that people get high on, and they find ways to lose. And you see it every week. So Purdue obviously found a way to win today, and they found a way to win earlier this week, shooting 67 free throws. But like, who would you guys say is the best team in the country right now? Or who would your pick be to win it all? Would it be Purdue? And I kind of asked that because whoever you say, I feel like we could reverse it and be like, KU can absolutely beat this team, or KU can absolutely beat that team. Like I think we're as good as anyone in the country. I really do.
Well, and that's what's so good about if we are going to have a team where there's still question marks, we don't need to be this 2011 Kansas Jayhawk level of good. We don't need to be a 2008 level of Kansas Jayhawk good to make a Final Four and win a national title this year. Because, I think the names are, you're going to talk about Purdue, you're going to talk about Houston, North Carolina. I think you can start to take pretty serious. But, Purdue with me, it's not just because they've lost to a 16 seed, a 15 seed, a 13 seed, all in the that is the craziest stat of all time. But part of the reason Purdue does that is because they're always so one-dimensional around some massive 7-footer, and it takes one good game plan, or it takes a bunch of little tiny guards on Fairleigh Dickinson to disrupt that 7-footer, or it takes just a bad ref calling a couple early fouls on Zach Edey, and their season can end quick. So I don't know who I going into yesterday, I would have said Houston would be my favorite. I still probably, in a 6-game format, probably lean a little more towards Houston just because they are so tough and physical. But I mean,
because I can convince myself Houston loses in the first weekend, but I also can just see Houston bullying an 8 or 9 seed that can't score, and they just out physical them. Random stat, but they had 11 defensive rebounds yesterday. That's obviously how good we were from the floor. They had more offensive rebounds than defensive rebounds.
Does anybody in the chat know when Houston got their first rebound in the entire game? I think it took over 8 minutes. It was something crazy.
Also, do you guys know, or anyone in the chat know, what we started from 3? I don't remember us missing. And Dajuan's 3, that was an air ball, right? That wasn't a pass.
I think it was an air ball, yes.
And I was thinking that was our first miss, because speaking of threes, Kev was active yesterday, talking shit to Houston's bench.
It catching him on the mic saying bitch after that dunk was so good.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. All-time Allen Fieldhouse moment, by the way, when he got that steal. And
never forget CB in the empty gym against Kentucky in the Champions Classic.
Pointing.
But yeah, Kev was talking shit to their bench, and I was loving it. And Rye, I was going to ask you, and this is tough because there were so many, but what did you think was, if you had to pick, even you can pick a few, what do you think the loudest moments were at Allen yesterday? I personally think off the top of my head was that Kev dunk.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I think it was the loudest moment of the season so far. Maybe I'd have to think back. Like, UConn was a different type of environment late in that game because it was such a close game, whereas this game, but dude, we were already cooking in that first half. And there's always those moments, we talk about it sometimes, where it's like, whether it's a three where the whole crowd, you just hear everyone in Allen Fieldhouse go silent, anticipating a big three, and when it actually goes in, the place just loses it. But that was the same way it was with that steal. When you saw McCullough get in that passing lane and you're just waiting for him to finish the dunk, like, it was, I think, the best moment in Allen Fieldhouse all year. But
nothing. He looked pretty healthy, didn't he?
Yeah, big brain stuff.
Here goes AB. Go.
I know I don't want this to be just like shower me with like
I like it,
but like I don't know. I
Genius.
guess I don't really have much to add on the environment. I wasn't there. It seemed loud on TV. It seemed loud on the videos they put out. It seemed.
Oh, that's a good point in the chat right here. I would say that Furphy's dunk was also very loud. Like, it was, and those happened within like a couple minutes of each other. I think.
Nothing. It doesn't get louder than when Furphy hits a three or
dunks.
And
his
the
dunk
chance.
His dunk was the moment that I have stopped semi-jokingly say he's gone after this year, and I 100% believe he's gone.
Can we talk about that real quick? Because I guess it depends on. So my opinion on the Furphy thing is like, yes, he's definitely played his way into the first round, but is he a lottery pick yet? Will he be a lottery pick? Because we just talked about his ability with Allen Fieldhouse and how much he is loved at Kansas. So I think there is a true scenario where Furphy returns to Kansas next year and collects the biggest NIL bag of all time. Like, I'm talking $1, $2, $3 million. Who knows? Like, he would be such a star on campus next year. And so you can sell him on that. You could say, okay, yeah, you can go first round this year, but you can also stay one more year, make close to as much as you might as a first rounder, late first rounder, or you can come back, make what $1, $2 million, but then play yourself into being like a top 5, top 10 type
I think
pick.
I disagree with that.
What if you're top 20
because
guaranteed?
This draft class is significantly worse than the following draft class, right? Like, I don't know what his ceiling would be against guys like Cooper Flagg and this 2025 class that's coming in. Everyone says this year it's soft as can be. Braden tweeted out a screenshot yesterday where he was projected to go 16th. If he's at 16 now and has a strong March where all these guys, like, if he has even a decent March, he's going to be a lottery pick this year. Like,
I'm saying if he's a lottery pick, 100% he should go. I'm meaning if he's like a 20 to 30 guy.
I'd agree with that.
I just think ceiling wise, like, I think a team inside the lotto or top 20 is definitely going to take a chance on him. He's 6'9". I think he just turned 19 years old, can shoot it. I can't imagine if an NBA team gets their hands on him, how elite he could turn out to be. And I feel like we always see projects go early in the draft. Like, we've seen guys in college that average single digit points go in the top 14. Furphy's scoring what's he averaging?
I don't know. It's just
if you had to guess, but I do have his 3-point numbers since he got in the starting lineup. Do you guys have any guesses on percentage from Johnny Furphy from 3 since he got in the starting lineup?
I'd love to
know. I think it's got to be like 52% or something crazy.
16 for 29, 55%.
Yeah.
He's hit 3+ in 5 of the 6 games. He weirdly struggled against Oklahoma State early this week. Of course,
which was good. I'm glad he did because it made him just light it up. So do you know his overall stats since Big 12 play, like points per game, stuff like that?
I'm doing some math right now. Hold on.
Like, do you want the games he didn't start?
The games he started, he's averaging 14.4 points a game.
So what I wanted to compare that to is I've been seeing a lot of talk about this. For Furphy's officially making a case of like being just as good or better than Grady Dick, isn't he?
I was thinking about this last night, like heavily, weirdly.
Because here's Grady Dick's stats last year: 14 points, 5 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 44% field goal percentage, and 40% 3-point percentage. So obviously, Furphy has a lot of time to continue to prove this, but these last 5-6 games, he is doing more on the court than I think Grady Dick was for Kansas.
What team do you think is better between this year and last year? Obviously, you have Jalen get drafted, you have Grady go in the lotto, but you had KJ playing center. And our bench wasn't very good too last year. So
we're trading. I think at the end of the day, this team's 100% going to be, or their ceiling is way, way higher.
But you've had 20,000 KU fans say, worst team under Bill Self.
But keep in mind, last year's team at this same stage
and they
just lost their 4th of the last 6. So or they had lost 3 in a row and then lost Iowa State on February 4th last year.
So the Furf Dog's at 15.6 points per game since he started. So 16 a game. I mean,
so
Kevin's really good. I don't think you can say Furphy's better, but I wouldn't blame any KU fan that says he's our best player.
Well, that's why I just want to be careful on all that, because we've seen guys hit a wall, and Big 12 play is a grind, and we're just in the thick of it. We still got a long way to go. So we'll see, because even Grady kind of hit a wall last year where I think we were getting a little frustrated with him, his aggressiveness. I don't know, but I want to bring up another team.
He'd have 40-point halves. Grady would have 40-point halves and then 0.
Yeah. Boys, I thought of something last night that has me giddy. This team is starting to look a lot like a certain national championship Kansas Jayhawks team. I mean, let's just start at the top. Dajuan Harris, similar, obviously, same guy. Is Johnny Furphy starting to play a little bit now? It's not fair to compare him to Ochai Agbaji, but he's playing in that similar way of he's athletic, he can shoot it, he can go get you 15 a game. If he stays at this level, I think you could kind of argue that Furphy's playing a similar role to Ochai. And then Kevin, CB, similar players, guys that are slashing, getting to the rim, great in transition. Kevin started to show that he can hit a 3-point shot like CB was. KJ Adams, this is where I started to think about it. KJ, I love that he's now capable of dribbling the ball up the court. He has become
point even guard too, baby.
Yeah, you brought up the pass to Furphy in transition, but that was the role Jalen played on that 2022 team. He was another guy that could handle the ball. Jalen was a better rebounder, obviously, but KJ is still I'd be curious to look at their stat comparison, Jalen and KJ. And then you have Hunter and Dave. We know Hunter's better, but we just we didn't need Dave to be a superstar. And so if you get Hunter playing at even a better level than Dave, I just think this team is starting to mold into a team that Bill Self has liked a lot these last few years, which is big wings, a good point guard, and a really good big down there at center. So
the problem is, people have mentioned it too. Who's the 6 man?
What were your guys' takeaways from El Marco yesterday?
Oh my god,
just brutal.
Shoot the ball.
You want to talk about the only time of the game where everything wasn't perfect? It was those back-to-back tournament turnovers where Cryer
I don't even
out
remember
of his mind.
He really had turnovers, and then in the first half he had multiple wide open lanes to go up for a layup, and he tried to force a pass, and it was another turnover.
I don't know if I've seen anyone in my life miss more. God, I'm trying to think how to phase this one. Miss more momentum changing or jumpers that make the Fieldhouse go nuts more than Nick Timberlake.
I know. That's what I was saying earlier.
And I don't know why, but I still think they're going in. And one of them's going to fall, and he's going to catch fire, and the Fieldhouse is going to go nuts because we know he can shoot it. I don't want to harp on the guy anymore. Yeah. Bench wise, there's been 3 or 4 comments in the chat about Parker yesterday, and I don't know if you could get more perfect minutes from someone. It was, I think, 8 or 9 minutes. Comes in, hits a 3, plays good defense. I think he had a blocked shot. He had 3 boards, which was more than Houston's whole team.
The Mitch role perfectly, which is I know that's all Bill Self wants out of him. So,
and we love Mitch. Mitch was awesome. He played so hard. Like he did some things way better than Parker. Like obviously he would take charges, block more shots. I think Parker's playing that role just as well, if not better. Like Parker legitimately does not make mistakes. He's the perfect backup big for this team.
Yeah,
because he comes in.
He understands.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There's nothing better than having a guy that comes off the bench that knows what his role is, and it helped to get. I mean, that's hard to get from a guy that's a transfer, but he just knew it. He knew from talking to CB. And so he's perfect because Mitch was the same way. Mitch didn't want to go in and score 10 points a game. He wanted to go in, be a bully, buy extra minutes. He just was all bought in to Bill Self's philosophies, and he knew what he wanted. So, and by the way, Parker Brown's 3 yesterday, sneaky, massive shot. Because it was the one time Houston kind of was battling back a little bit.
AB, can you pin the last comment?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. So for audio, it says, I have no problem with PB, even though he's limited athletically. I don't think people know how athletic he is because he doesn't show it. If you ask CB or Lisa, and maybe they're out of their minds and they're just trying to hype him up, but they both, and CB's the cockiest person in the world. Like, he doesn't want to admit stuff like this, but he says that Parker's more athletic than he is.
Okay, well, yeah.
I don't know why he would say that.
That's correct. I mean, it depends on maybe because he's 7 foot or really tall. That I don't know. But
can I make a statement about another white big that we have? Hunter, and this is obviously the tiniest footnote on the game, and it didn't matter because I called a goaltend and a foul. That little like fast break thing, why didn't he dunk the ball?
I was sitting at the game with. I was just like,
can't.
It looked like he wanted to jelly finger roll it. It's like, you are 7'2", Hunter. Just dunk the ball. And
I just hope that doesn't like actually matter in a game because it ended up being a 3-point play, so it didn't matter at all. But there's a chance where that's going to lead to a pin block fast break for the other team at some point if that were to happen.
Yeah, again. And like early in the game, there was a time where like most bigs could drop step dunk, and like Hunter catches it, nobody around him, and he like does a floater, and he still tapped it in after he missed it. But it's just he just does not have that quick gather or any explosiveness to go up and dunk.
I was worried about him in this matchup, but he was pretty money. His touch around the rim was great. There was a lot of weird passes, though, from the entire team, and that's why you comfortably win, and you have 18 turnovers, and I think that shows you how good this team could be. Like, even KJ, he had 7 dimes. Yeah, Chad, that's what I'm talking about right now. He had 7 dimes. There was times where he had floaters. There was one, he had like a 10-footer, went up like he was going to shoot it, and Hunter turned around the box to try to offensive board it, and he ended up throwing it to Hunter when he wasn't looking, goes out of bounds. He threw like a couple off the glass. Feels like it's a very unselfish team, and sometimes they just need to take those 5'10" footers that are wide open because no one's going to be mad at that. Even El Marco yesterday, he got into the lane. He had like a 7-footer wide open, and he just didn't even look at the rim and passed it. I'm like, obviously the fans have been tough on him, but I'm never going to be mad when KU gets a wide open 7-footer, a 7-foot jumper in a possession from a guard. Like, just shoot the ball. It's way better getting the shot up when you have guys you have Furphy, KJ, Kev, Hunter all crashing the glass. You miss a 7-footer, you have a great chance of getting the offensive board, getting a putback. Instead, our guards will pass those up, and it'll end up being a turnover. Like, you got to at least get a shot attempt up.
Yeah, and Bill said it in post game, like in regards to passes, and I tweeted it yesterday. Like, I've never seen a team just fire the ball into the crowd more often. But Bill's pointed out, like, yeah, we had a lot of turnovers, but a lot of our turnovers were from us trying to create something and find an open guy. Whereas the worst turnovers are like kind of what we saw can't remember what, maybe UCF game or one of the games we just had a ton where it's like we're not even running offense and we're turning the ball over. It's just lazy passes to start the offense that are getting picked off. Whereas I can kind of live with us trying to get out quick on a fast break to create transition buckets and we just overthrow a guy. It's annoying, but it's a lot different.
AB, we just I don't know if you saw this, but we just topped 12 on KenPom.
Oh my God, boys! Probably Wisconsin. Yeah, Wisconsin.
Yeah, but it just makes me, it just gets me a little going when we jump spots. Right behind Marquette, who obviously pumped us, but you just look at the top 10 and all those teams. I mean, I don't know a ton on them, but like I said, I would take us against anyone. I mean, the number one team on there we just pumped yesterday. So, have you guys like been locked in to college basketball this year, or like a team like Arizona? I haven't watched a ton. Obviously, West Coast team. Auburn is up there. Tennessee, I really don't know how to feel about them. I know they just gave it to Kentucky, but obviously they're really good defensively, and then they have the Connect kid. So it's tough.
That's a good transition because I do want to talk about the Lenardi bracketology, and I think AB has some thoughts on teams you maybe just pointed out, Arizona, Tennessee. I don't know. I was triggered. I was triggered online this morning when I see old Joey Joe's new bracketology, and Kansas is the last 2 seed. We have now wins over number 1 UConn, number 4 Houston, number 5 Tennessee. Who am I missing? There's more. Like
UConn,
OU, Kentucky. Like, yeah, I said
Jesus.
And it's like, what? So AB, you said you had some thoughts on why we weren't higher, but I'm having trouble understanding how. Like, what is other than analytics? Does Houston have a better resume than us?
Yeah, they do.
I think they actually do. That's why I asked B-Turn. They've got a lot of quad 1 wins.
Yeah, I think they lead the country in quad 1 wins. No, they don't. But they got 6 quad 1s. We've got 5.
What are your thoughts on quad 1 wins, AB?
Well, I just wish that they weren't a thing. But there's one reason why we're not a 1 seed right now. It's the game in Morgantown. You can't have a quad 3 loss. You can't do it. That's fucking with the net. Now, my question with the net, this also leads me to have a rant about the net, because you start looking and we're 11th in the net right now. So 10 teams ahead of us. All but one of them are unbeaten in quad 3, except for Arizona, who has more losses overall than us. Obviously, fewer wins. They're also not good on the road. They're 3-3 compared to our 2-3. They're 2-2 in neutral. We're 3-1. They've also got a quad 3 loss, and they've got a quad 2 loss as well. We don't have a quad 2 loss. So I don't really understand how that all comes together, but I have to assume because Lenardi also has them as like the second 2 seed.
And then
quad 3 loss is going to kill us.
But explain to me Tennessee. We beat them head to head. Like, I don't give a shit about quad 3 losses when we beat one of the other teams. Like, what are we talking about?
Right, but if we lost to Marquette, do we think Marquette should always be ahead of us? I mean, I don't know the rest of their resume. I don't really care to look into it. But if we're going to look at November basketball games and make that assumption for seeding and
Marquette
everything,
is ahead of us right now, according to Lenardi. So,
how many losses do they have? Like 4 or 5?
I just need to keep this up permanently. They're right behind us in the net.
They have 5.
5, but they've only lost 1 game outside of quad 1.
My question is, you win the Big 12 outright, you're getting a 1, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If they keep winning, they'll be fine. I don't want to get too fired up about the bracketology 6 weeks before the bracket comes out, but yeah, if they take care of business, which I think they might, we can get into this later. February might bring some colorful things for the Kansas basketball Jayhawks. But yeah, as of now, I kind of understand where, if you look at analytics, if you look at net, if you look at the quad system, there are just teams that are better and have arguably better resumes, I guess, than simply our really good wins. Because
I really don't.
We also have really bad losses. I don't know.
I guess I'm struggling to see Tennessee. I guess what is about, they've got 5 losses. They're better a little bit analytically, but we beat them. I guess they don't have a quad 3 loss. Is that the main difference?
It might be, but then that's why I'm confused with Arizona being number 3 in the net when they've got a quad 3 loss and a quad 2 loss. Like,
yeah,
that's what frustrates me about the whole thing is that I can find something that like, oh, this is why KU might be lower, but then I go look compared to the other teams, and it's just like, okay, well then what are we talking about here? Like, how does that math add up, and our math adds up to this? Like, I just don't really get it. Which is just a bigger problem in itself that we're determining brackets and everything based off of that.
I mean, a lot can happen and injuries can happen, but do you guys see any way we're not a 1 or 2 in the tournament? I know there's a lot there can with the schedule. I mean, you got Baylor twice, you got BYU, but I can't envision this team being lower than a 2 in the tournament as long as they stay healthy. Because they're going to lose some games, but they're also going to pick up quad 1 wins. I don't know. I mean, it sounds crazy because right now Lenardi has us as the last team on the 2 line. So they're close to being a 3. I can't envision this talented of a team and this good of a team with this good of a resume being anything lower than a 2, especially when you would think with Allen Fieldhouse and just Bill's resume for itself, they would finish near the top of the Big 12. Yeah. And great conference. He should be rewarded.
This is where things might get a little out of control on this podcast, boys. But I'm looking at this schedule, and I've already talked about this looking ahead. But you look back a few weeks ago, and you're looking at what we have coming up, and you're saying, oh, my God. Like we were saying it. We got to play Houston. We got to go to K-State, who was playing good ball at the time. You got Baylor at home. You got to go to Texas Tech, who was in first place of the Big 12. You got to go to Oklahoma, who was a top 10 team. And you got Texas at home. But now I'm looking at this schedule. You've beat Houston. You're going to Kansas State, who has lost 4 straight. They're blaming, they're making up conspiracy theories about opposing teams. They're losing their minds. You go to K-State. All of a sudden, that game, obviously, we'll talk a little more about it. It's always scary. You can always lose in Manhattan, but, we should win. If this team is as good as we've been talking about, you should win in K-State. Then you got Baylor at home, which what a debacle that game was last night. I don't think Baylor at Allen Fieldhouse is anything we've ever been too scared of, so feel good about that win. But the 2 games I'm looking at Texas Tech and at OU, a few weeks ago, I would have been like, that's terrifying. You could easily lose both, and you still could. But I am now, and correct me if I'm wrong, or you can call me crazy, I am now seeing this KU team winning our next 5 games, 6 games. I think they could win their next.
Did you just say it?
So I think you win at K-State, you win at Baylor, you win at Texas Tech, who just lost a home game to Cincinnati. Home against Baylor.
Or you win at K-State, you play in Allen Fieldhouse against Baylor, you go on the road to Lubbock.
He was gifting us at Baylor. No.
Well, and then at OU, who OU gets smoked by UCF yesterday, and then you have Texas at home and BYU at home.
AB, what's your take on OU?
Frauds. All right, Mike, we don't need to talk about the quarterbacks for the Chiefs' dad right now.
That boy gets loaded.
So I have talked myself into KU at least.
I gotta go look at the schedule again. I didn't pay attention.
Good God. This man.
You said it twice.
I've said the schedule twice.
You got my brain twisted. I thought
literally, I'm just telling you this right now. We are going to win at K-State. We're going to win a home game against Baylor. We're going to win at Texas Tech. We're going to win at Oklahoma. We're going to win a home game against Texas, and we're going to win a home game against BYU.
I don't know
how our next 6 games.
I don't know how you can hand us at Tech and at OU.
I'm not necessarily handing it, but it's like those games have gotten significantly less scary to me.
For sure, too. Probably a couple of weeks ago, I think we would have said – a lot of fans probably would have been melting down saying you lose at Tech and you lose at OU. I just think tomorrow and at Tech will be tough because you're coming off home games against ranked teams and you've got to turn around in 48 hours and play in tough environments. I'm not very high on Tech, but that atmosphere is great, and Manhattan's going to be great tomorrow too.
I would like to argue that tomorrow is the toughest game we have in February.
I don't agree with that.
Hear me out.
I think. Okay, go ahead.
Hear me out. I know on paper it should be the easiest. They're significantly the worst team we have to play against in February. But we're not losing games at Allen Fieldhouse. We can chalk those all as W's. We've been doing that for years. OU, I just are they going to care? Like, how many times have we gone to OU? And I'm not saying we win every time. We lost the streak in OU. But, doesn't that just scream 70% full, kind of dead, weird environment?
OU?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think tomorrow, I don't care. That makes me feel more confident. They might not be tomorrow.
They won't be ranked tomorrow.
But I don't know, man. There's something about tomorrow where you're 48 hours removed from beating one of the best teams in the nation, absolutely killing them, pumping them. Environment was the best it's been all year. The boys played about as well as they did all year, at least shooting the ball. We always say water finds its level. Do we expect to shoot 70% tomorrow? I bet we shoot closer to 30% tomorrow. So, K-State's not very good. But K-State cares about, they're going to get pissed about this, they care about one game in college basketball every year. Maybe they have sellouts for others. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I don't want to get into tickets. Who fucking cares? But that place is going to be more juice tomorrow than we're going to see maybe the rest of the year until probably Baylor, Houston, one of those two games. Tech, I guess, is pretty good. But the way they hate KU is a lot. They're due for a win. They've lost 4 in a row. We think Tang is a damn good coach. Do we think he's going to lose 5 in a row? Sure, he could, but they're just due for a win like Oklahoma State was due for a win yesterday, a couple weeks ago when they finally won their first game. This just feels like a trap. It's hard to think K-State as a sandwich game for KU, but coming off what happened yesterday, going into hosting game day next week against Baylor on a short turnaround in a hated environment, I think tomorrow is going to be the toughest game they have all of February. I would not be surprised at all if they lose. The line is only 4.5.
It'll be a game.
It was heavily juiced to K-State. Yeah. It might be at 4 right now.
We got Legend in the chat alert at 3:14. Our guy, the stat guy. Gonna have to pin that. Adam Soley.
Yeah.
Bill Self. The one above it, coach.
Wrong one.
Wrong one. And where are we at compared to Kentucky right now?
2 games back.
It's so funny. It is so funny.
Best coach in Kansas history.
That the NCAA just decided to rip away 15 wins from us right as we took over the lead in all-time wins. And we're going to get it right back 6 months later.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very funny because Kentucky, B-Turn, I know you're heavily leveraged on them. You know, you've got some futures on them, but they are.
Coach Cal.
Coach Cal is just not a good basketball coach anymore. But I want to talk more about the K-State thing. Is that what you're going to talk about, B-Turn?
Well, I just wanted to say the guy you're listening to right now snagged the old Kansas Jayhawks at 30-1 a couple times this past week. And I already am up money. I can already cash out as a dub. KU winning it all. I wonder what our number is right now, but I thought 30-1 was crazy because you talked about our losses. You see West Virginia, Iowa State, we played well. They just shot out of their minds. So, you can just tell this team's different with Furphy. So if there's a 30-1 out there, or 25 even, I'd go snag that.
I mean, 1,000-1 Big 12 was crazy.
God damn it! Why'd you bring that up?
I'm sorry.
1,000-1.
And yesterday was just an incredible day for Kansas bettors. I mean, my favorite bet of all time was getting KU alt line -5. That was felt like easy money. That's how absurd Allen Fieldhouse is.
1,000-1.
But
they're still 5-1.
Mm-hmm. You can write this wrong.
1,000-1.
But
1,000-1.
They are 5-1.
I think I saw someone tweet that earlier.
I'm gonna have to line shop because I want to snag the Hawks.
I'm gonna have to line shop. But okay, I want to talk about K-State a little more because AB, you're right. You look at this game on paper, you say Kansas just had their best shooting night, a truly historically good shooting night. You say K-State's lost their last 4. But in a weird way, the thing that has me pretty confident going into tomorrow night is I kind of get the sense that K-State's just unraveling. Like, I kind of think they're just falling apart as a team. They've had all that stuff with the Tomlin, and, their president and their coaches all hate each other. And so I think tomorrow will kind of be the thing that determines that for me. I could see, yes, K-State could win. It'll be a great environment. They will make shots. They will play good. We will struggle. We will turn the ball over. It's going to be ugly. I think we're going to have to win ugly. But I'm also just kind of convinced this K-State team isn't very good as it is. And then I also just kind of think there's some weird vibes around the entire program right now. The whole, the Iowa State loss for them was just embarrassing. I mean, from a fan base, from the coach. I know the coaches never came out and said publicly that they thought the Iowa State was spying on their huddle, but they were definitely leaking it to journalists. Like
that Twitter narrative has been bothering me more than anything. To act like Tang didn't say anything or imply anything was wrong. Like, what are we talking about? Like,
he also was doing this in the hut, like he was showing a phone too. Yeah. So that's my only point about K-State is like, could they just be unraveling? Could they be the second worst team in the Big 12 by the end of the year? And like,
they could be, but to show you that sometimes that just doesn't matter. Let's go back to 2015 where K-State had lost 7 of 8 games and KU trots into Bramlage Basketball Coliseum.
That's the worst. I would say that's a top 3 worst teams of the Bill Self era, though.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I just have a hunch that they're going to play well. You've lost 4 straight.
A pretty bad Bill Self team too.
You're due biggest rival. The crowd's going to be amped. You got to find a way to win a game. I don't know though. Like, I guess you can look at it as how do you bounce back from that bad of a loss to an Oklahoma State team 2 days later?
Yeah,
but
by hearing Sandstorm come on.
And is there any so we're talking about
KSU.
We're talking about our shooting percentages getting affected because we shot so well, but also is there any sort of, if you're really looking at numbers, like our last 2 road games, haven't they been, teams have gone scorched earth against us, like West Virginia and Iowa State made everything. So are we really going to go into a 3rd straight road game where the opposing team doesn't miss?
Also, that's true because it's like, do any of us think that Bill Self's going to start 1-4 on the road in conference with 2 toughies coming up next week?
I just this is why I love dumb brain analysis, because
dumb brain analysis is right more than smart brain analysis.
Literally, let's think about this logically. Is Bill Self going to start 1-4 in Big 12? Are we going to see a 3rd straight team shoot incredibly well? A 3rd straight bad team? Nah, Iowa State's not bad. I take that back.
Also,
a bad shooting team though.
Didn't UCF have a guard that was not shooting it well that hit a ton of threes on us?
Yeah, but I think we talked about that last episode where he hadn't shot it well to start the year, but over his career he was like a 40-ish 40-ish% 3-point shooter and just had a tough 2 months.
Coach
Sellers,
you might be right. You're right.
Well, did you have more thoughts on K-State, AB? I feel like you were going to say something back and I kept talking. But
about the game tomorrow?
Yeah, you had, I thought maybe a rebuttal to my thing about how are they falling apart? Are they? But maybe it was your thing about the 2015.
Yeah, right. Sellers shot it really well at Ball State.
But by no means do I think K-State is better than KU. By no means on paper. If they played 10 times, I think KU wins 9 of them. I've just seen it with my eyes before. KU go into that building as the much better team coming off much bigger wins. When was it? 2011? They had just rose to number 1 in the polls. They lose at K-State in a game they shouldn't have. Sometimes it just happens. Sports don't make sense. They don't at all. And I hate to say it out loud, they're going to be more fired up for that game than we are. I don't know about the players and coaching staff. I'm not saying that. I'm saying at least fan base wise and energy around it, there's going to be people at Bramlage at 10 a.m. tomorrow waiting to get in. But they hate KU so much, dude. It doesn't matter how bad they are, how much they're struggling. Sports don't make sense.
But I'm questioning I'm questioning if the energy will truly be at that level, because I think the fan base is kind of in a meltdown mode right now. I think people are upset still about the Tomlin thing. I think Tang has even annoyed some of the fan base with how they handled the Iowa State stuff. So the environment's going to be insane as it always is. But I wonder if the team and the program as a whole is walking in fired up the same way. Last year, they walked in thinking we're going to go prove that we are elite this year. We are a good team. And they felt like they could go in and beat us. I don't know if this team has that same type of swagger, that same type of confidence, but yeah, I'm not questioning the atmosphere. I'm more so questioning, I guess, just the confidence level inside that program right now. But
it's got to be low. But what's the confidence level inside our program going to play conference road games?
I would say right now our confidence level has to be as high as it's been all year, because we just looked phenomenal. But yeah,
that's the other part. It's thing, and I think that's my issue with the whole scope on KU in terms of when you guys were talking about it earlier, who would you take against KU? At Allen Fieldhouse, I'm not taking anybody against KU. I'm not taking the Milwaukee Bucks against KU with Glenn Rivers at head coach.
Glenn Rivers.
Yeah. But it's a different ball game when it's not inside that building. And it's shown, especially this year, they're 1-3 on the road. They've lost to the second, third worst team in the conference on the road. And obviously those teams shoot the lights out. Who's saying K-State's not going to shoot the lights out tomorrow?
Yeah.
That this is a game they clearly look forward to. They take a lot of pride in.
They have to win, right?
Yeah, they have to turn their season around if they want a chance, because their schedule is insane as well. I was saying before this past week, they kind of got to go 2-0 to give themselves a chance to, get into the tournament.
Yeah,
they got to turn it around at some point. 2-0 last week against OU and Oklahoma State.
I guess I kind of think they're
yeah.
I kind of think they're just not going to turn it around. I think when we look back on this K-State team, and I could be very wrong, I think they're going to be second to last, third to last in the Big 12, and they're just going to be a really bad team. I don't know. Could be wrong. But
yeah, I guess I don't know how much you guys have watched K-State. Is there anyone on that roster that scares you the most? I know they have a couple guards that can go. We've seen Kaluma.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I mean, they have guards that can score it, but, God, they're shooting it at a bad percentage. Tyler Perry is an absolute bucket at North Texas. He's shooting 34% from the field.
He will. He's going to be the guy that goes off.
And he's had some big games lately. He just had 23 and 19 last week. Cam Carter's a pretty good guard. And then, we've seen Kaluma go off against us almost end our season, the year we won it all. So I'm sure our bigs, at least Hunter should have a big game. But I think we match up pretty well. I think you stick Kevin on Kaluma, make it tough on him, and then obviously Dajuan will make it tough on Perry. So I feel good, but they're desperate, and it's the biggest game of the year for them. So
I'll read you a text from a K-State fan about a member of the Kansas State Wildcats yesterday. Quote, Tyler Perry has just been an all-around disaster for this team. So his stats, I'll plainly admit right now, I probably watched 8 seconds of K-State hoops this year. I don't know shit.
Yeah,
I don't really plan on it. I'll watch tomorrow. I'll watch when they come to Lawrence. I'll come if they have a game on before KU's on the same channel. I just don't watch college hoops like I used to as a whole. But when people that are pretty diehard fans about that team are saying that about their guys, even though he may score a lot of points, I think there's a little more to it than just 15 points a game or whatever he's averaging.
Yeah, and that's why I get a different vibe around the program, the team, the player, even the coaches. It just doesn't feel like a team that's about to go in and beat a Kansas team that I think we just said, yes, we lost 3 games over the last month, but we've also just continuously got better. We're playing like a top 5 team in the country right now, and K-State is not anywhere near that. So, yes, the argument can always be made that if they go shoot lights out and Tyler Perry turns into what he was at North Texas, we're in trouble. But I just kind of think we're going to walk in tomorrow. It's not going to be beautiful, but we're going to just handle business. You're going to see KJ Adams have a couple big dunks late in that game that just silence that crowd. And we're going to walk out of there with what we wanted. We said last week on the pod, go beat Houston and go beat K-State. And this season is all the way back on track. You're back on track for one seed. You're back on track to win the Big 12 title. And I think this team has to recognize that too. And I know Bill Self recognizes that. You win this game Monday, you're sitting in a great spot. And
then you get rest for that Baylor game, an athletic Baylor has a bunch of athletes, and you get wild Allen Fieldhouse again. I mean, it's going to be wild Allen Fieldhouse no matter what, but what?
Me?
Anthony, yes.
No, I was going to ask you guys when the last time we blew K-State out in Manhattan was, and I just completely forgot about the game that we held them to 41 points.
What year was that? 2020?
I'm looking.
No, I was at that game.
2021, we won 59-41.
And that KU team was not good. So that K-State team must have been horrid.
Oh, I wanted to ask you guys what your takeaways were on Juan yesterday and just this week. I thought he was pretty poised, looked pretty comfy. He had one turnover yesterday against the best defense in the country. Still want him to shoot it more. Was just looking, he's 5 for his last 8 from 3, which obviously isn't a big sample size, but he doesn't shoot a ton already. He's 45% from 3 this year. There was still a 3 yesterday that he passed up, and it's just like
passed it to Parker, who made the 3. But I was sitting there saying at the game, like it's never great when your starting point guard you're begging to shoot is passing up open threes to give it to your backup center who does have the confidence to take the 3. Like I know Parker made it, that was good, but I want Dajuan to take that shot. But yeah,
I've never heard. Did you hear? I don't know. You probably won't remember this, but I think it was the first half. Juan had a wide open 3 and turned it down, and the whole crowd groaned. I've never heard that.
Which I hate for him because that's got to be like mentally just a nightmare. But
they want him to shoot. Like in previous years, I feel like maybe KU fans don't want Juan shooting too much, but
he's wide open. He will make them.
Exactly. He has to shoot them, and that makes us even more dangerous. But he has definitely looked better since Furphy got in the starting lineup. Offense is just completely different. The spacing, like we look awesome. If we can stay injury free and obviously keep guys out of foul trouble in huge games, like I feel really good about KU.
I've got a Juan little note. Braden, you just said since Furphy came into the starting lineup. Let me go through Dajuan Harris's turnovers per game in those 6-7 games. Against OU, no turnovers, played 40 minutes. Against Oklahoma State, played 31 minutes, 1 turnover. West Va, 36 minutes, no turnovers. Cincy, that was a bad one, 5 turnovers. We'll move on. At Iowa State, a top 5 defense in the country right now, 2 turnovers. Versus Oklahoma State this past week, 1 turnover. And against Houston yesterday, the best defense in the league, 1 turnover. He's just not turning it over hardly at all. If you take out the Cincy game, it's less than 1 per game. That's I think if we went back to episodes when talking about Dajuan, that's like the biggest thing we say is shoot the ball and don't turn it over. And he's not shooting enough, but it's not like the offense has fallen back. I think Torvik had us as the number 2 offense in basketball since Furphy started.
That's what I was going to say is if Juan isn't turning it over, is anyone upset at him ever?
No.
Like, because he's not really going to have a bad shooting night. If he's not going to have a bad shooting night, I guess, he could miss little bunnies around the rim. But as long as he's taking care of the ball, because he's going to defend, and then he's going to end up getting guys involved. I think he only had 3 assists yesterday, but if he's not turning it over, you really can't complain about much with him.
But we haven't talked about, and I don't know, I wasn't paying too much attention to this, but like I said on the last pod, every game I had watched of Houston this year, I came away thinking like Jamal Shedd is like a gamer. He's the guy I want at point guard. Like if I had to pick a point guard, he's my guy.
You love him.
Jamal Shedd did nothing yesterday. He was flat out bad. And I don't know if that was Dajuan. I think some of that was Dajuan's doing, wasn't it? I guess I didn't pay too much attention. I think Dajuan got switched on to Cryer at a certain point. But yeah, I mean, we took Jamal Shedd completely out of the game. He did nothing. And that was huge because
that's how good we were offensively. Is no KU fans have even talked about us defensively yesterday. I know Houston isn't insane offensively; they're not like high powered and put up a ton of points, but 35% from the floor, I think 36%, 25 for 69, and we weren't giving them too many second chances. So yeah, you had talked about it. Shedd had been on a crazy run. I think he had nights where he had 28, 25. You hold them to single digits. And that's from playing behind all game. You would think him and Cryer was, but you would think they would just start launching, trying to get back into the game. And Shed wasn't able to do anything. Their guards weren't really even able to get downhill. And I said it during the week. I was worried about our offense getting good looks. We got everything we wanted. And it just, Bill Self, dude, he is so fucking good. He's the best coach in the country, and he's the best coach to ever coach at Kansas. He's so good. Takes over for Roy and exceeds expectations.
By the way, I was sad they didn't show this on TV, but Bill was fired up at the end of that game. Did a whole hands in the air, almost like a pump up the crowd. You could tell he knew how badly he wanted to. I mean, it was a must win for Big 12 title chase, but also just as a win this team needed to kind of prove that we are an elite basketball team. And I think that's why I feel good about Monday. I don't think this team this Monday matters a lot. Whereas last year in Manhattan, I'm not sure we were, a little earlier in the Big 12 season. K-State was so
we're halfway through, right? Big 12 play.
Yeah. So
what were your guys' thoughts on Kelvin's timeouts late?
I don't know.
It was just annoying,
weird. But Fran was saying they were all with a purpose.
Well, of course,
I didn't quite understand why. I don't know. I just laughed it off. Worst case,
you guys. It was 13 seconds, and then they did.
Yeah, but what's the downside? You guys spend an extra 2 minutes in Allen Fieldhouse with a packed crowd.
Yeah.
I was wondering
It was bananas, though. I can't imagine it was anything to do with that game right there. It was probably a little bit of a let's set this up for the next time we see it when it is close, maybe. But still,
I did love Sampson's post game. Him being it's absolutely insane that we were we were favorites. Kansas should never be underdogs in that building.
Sacrilege, baby.
Yeah, sacrilege. He was just so. And you could tell, I forgot he never won at Allen Fieldhouse when he was at OU.
What did he say again?
What did I say?
Yeah. He quickly went to look at the previous games.
Yeah, they showed it on the broadcast. He's 0-8 now in Fieldhouse.
They went to the Final Four. Kelvin Sampson and Oklahoma Sooners came into Allen Fieldhouse.
Yeah. I mean, so he's seen it all, and you could just tell he was God, this building. You can tell he's probably just I hate that I have to keep coming back to this place every year now.
Speaking of post-game press conferences, I know I think I sent it to our group chat, maybe it was with Alan in it. Did you guys see Bill Self slap his dick on the table when they asked him if
was it big?
If he knew that he was an underdog yesterday?
It was,
it was so good. He was he's like, I didn't know. I didn't know until right now that we were an underdog. And
he was like, when was the other time?
Yeah. It was the second time you've ever been an underdog. Second time we've been an underdog here at home since I've been here. When was the other time? 2021 against Baylor. 2021 against Baylor. Nice. Good to know, guys. He just had a little smirk on his face. He absolutely had to know.
It was so good. The way he said,
perfect.
Good
Kelvin knew.
Good to know,
guys.
Oh, he's such a boss, dude. He is such a boss, but
we were an underdog? How do you make us dogs?
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I don't have a whole lot. I think I really wanted to get on and enjoy this feeling of being back to convince this team can win it all. I'll tell you this, I will be gutted with a loss Monday night because I'm all the way back, as everyone should be. And boy, would it feel like you just start to see momentum and lose it if you lose Monday night. That's why I'm just so convinced we won't. But yes,
let's make a pick then. Make your pick. Let's do score predictions. We haven't done that in 5 years.
Is there a line out?
4.5 is what I saw earlier.
Total? What's the total?
Fuck, man. I don't know.
Well,
let me look.
Fuck, man.
Do
you think I work for Vegas?
Yes.
Like I said, I think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be a clinic offensively from us, but I do think we'll be locked in defensively. I think we'll win.
It looks like it's -5 with a total of about 144.
So I think we win 70-62. Like, I think we just kind of handle business kind of ugly throughout the game, and we just pull away. We make more plays in the final 5-10 minutes of the game and win kind of comfortably, I would say. So that's my prediction. We'll go 70-62 Hawks.
I will go 73-64 Kansas. Johnny Furphy with 47 points.
I hate myself already.
Hey, your predictions have been good.
Yeah, I know, and I hate this because he's going to predict K-State wins the game, and he's been
I don't think it's a bad pick.
Locked in.
72-68 Cats.
I don't get it. That
should scare KU fans because this.
What do you mean? There's nothing, Ryan? It's college basketball this year.
I know
teams lose on the road all the time. Was there
anything
on paper that said Georgia Tech should have beat North Carolina on Monday? Absolutely not. But you know what I had? A gut fucking feeling that basketball is weird, sports are weird, 18 to 22-year-olds are weird, and things happen. You know what I had going into the UCF game? The same feeling I have now. I hope to God I'm wrong, but it's 72-68 Cats.
You claimed before the UCF game we weren't going to lose for a month.
I understand that, and then I woke up that day and I text you guys, boy, I'm nervous already.
Yeah,
we should be nervous every road game rest of the year. I don't like. What game do you guys think we'll just go in and flat out win?
Oklahoma.
That's fine. Yeah,
I am nervous. I am always nervous in Bramlage, but no, this K-State's unraveling. They're not good.
It does come to it. We have 9 conference road games. If we lose this one, we're 1-4 with 4 to go. Self ain't going to go 2-7 on the road, so he's got to pick 1 or 2 up. This seems like it could be the one to do that. But God, he's going to pick Baylor yesterday. Baylor at home hasn't exactly been this unbeatable force. They're playing a bunch of close games with the shit camera angle.
Home. Oh my God. Yes. Another shit camera angle we got to deal with.
That Lipsy for Iowa State looked like he was 4'2". It was so annoying.
Shit, man.
They got to fix it. Otherwise, tear the arena down and start over.
I guess, can you guys envision KU playing like shit tomorrow?
No, yeah. Well, yes. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
God, we played so good for a while now, it feels like. It just feels like our offense is clicking. So
but
it feels like K-State might have to.
I love these comments right here. Put the final nail in the coffin. Cats lose tomorrow. They're done this year. That's what a rivalry is. We should be sitting there in the locker room being like, this team is falling apart and we can go finish them off. We can end their season with a dominant performance. So that's what I want to see from KU tomorrow. Not a scared, timid, we're not going to make shots. We just know we're not going to turn around and shoot and have another 50+% shooting performance, but we can play good defense. We can take care of the ball and we will win. We're going to take care of business. I will be gutted if we don't.
Do you see this team being timid with all the upperclassmen they have?
But it's just it is the road woes. We've looked bad on the road, but it's fine. AB, you've been on an absolute heater. You're due to lose. You're due to be wrong about something. And
I hope to God I am.
And you chose a great time to hopefully be wrong. But I believe you, and I respect that you're just going with your gut. But no, we're fine. Hawks win.
I don't believe. Let me make sure this is accurate before I spew out nonsense on the pod. Yeah, we haven't won 3 games in a row in the Big 12 this year.
Yeah, I mean, what are we talking about? We just talked about how Bill Self doesn't lose as an underdog at Allen Fieldhouse. Bill Self also doesn't just fall apart for an entire road season, for entire Big 12 season on the road. We're gonna win some road games.
All right. I hope I'm wrong. If they go 2-1 on the next 3 road games, though, they're going to win the conference.
Us 3 should all be in the building tomorrow.
We will be in the building.
So,
hey, I tweeted this out too. But any K-State fans that are in here watching, there might be 1 or 2 of you just to talk shit. I can't wait for Sandstorm tomorrow. Bring it. Bring the fuck KU. I don't want KSU. I don't want the nonsense. Yeah. Say fuck KU. Make me feel something in that arena.
Yeah, that program needs to get there. They need to get some hatred. I guess they did with the Iowa State thing. That was an all-time K-State night. But, no. We want to hear FKU. Give it to me. It's better.
Eat it to me.
I think we play better when they do it. So, let's not forget this Bramlage Coliseum has been open since like 1985, and they have like 6 wins total over us in that building. So like everything's gonna be okay. So
Rock Chalk, I'm feeling good, man. The years that I know every year we're talented, but the years that we actually know and feel like we're a national title contender and have a chance to go deep, there's nothing like it.
Yep. And that's
like you could feel it in 2022. I know we lost at TCU late, but we knew that team was good enough. 2020, I know that stunk, but the years that we know, like 17, 18, I know you come up short, but the years that you actually feel it, that they can win it.
I don't know.
Yes, we have.
A couple
2014 and 2015.
It's the last time we've lost back-to-back in Manhattan, and I would say those were back-to-back 9-loss Kansas City. We lost 9 in 2014. I think we lost 10 in 2015.
Remember Wiggins?
Here's the problem. If we're not careful, this team could also lose 9 or 10.
Yeah, games. But different Big 12.
Yes.
Remember Wiggins put back in Manhattan to send it to OT? He was literally in the crowd.
Yeah, it was incredible.
For off the air once
Will Spradling.
Will Spradling then crossed up Embiid. So yeah, that was tough scene.
Woo! Awesome.
But, all right, let's wrap it up. Thank you all for joining, and hopefully back next week for us to laugh in AB's face for predicting the old Kansas State Wildcats. But
all right.
Subscribe, and we will see you next week. Rock Chalk.